Hi, I'm Talia from Little House on Laurel. I put together a gift guide that will help you if you're shopping for your favorite modern homesteader or if you're looking for ideas for your own wish list. I've collected an assortment of really fun and useful, high quality items that will make great gifts for a homesteader. Homesteaders spend a lot of time working hard in the kitchen, cooking from scratch. So I'm going to show you my favorite items for the kitchen. The first is this porcelain enamel Dutch oven. You can use this to make a pot of stew on the stovetop. But what I really like to use it for is to bake my artisan sourdough bread inside. You just put your bread on a piece of parchment paper and then slide it into the Dutch oven that's already been preheated. And you put the lid on and let it bake with the lid on. That keeps the top from getting too brown. And then at a certain time, you take the lid off and let it finish up its cooking. So this is very, very handy. Homesteaders also love items that can serve a dual purpose, such as this solid walnut cutting board. I use this for cutting vegetables, but also for slicing homemade bread. But it can also, because it's beautiful, it can be used as a board for a charcuterie tray, which can be used for the holidays, when you're hosting, or for any special occasion. Then we have one of my favorite cookbooks, the Prairie Homestead Cookbook by Jill Winger. She's the author of the Prairie Homestead blog. I love this because it has a lot of traditional types of recipes. Everything is made from scratch with items that you would most likely already have in your pantry or freezer. And then not only is it a cookbook, but it has information on making homemade stock, butter, cream cheese, ricotta, sourdough starter, and then pumpkin puree. And then Jill talks a little bit about herb gardens, taking care of chickens, and taking care of your milk cow. I highly recommend this book. And it's a great addition for anyone who loves to create in their kitchen. Another favorite for cooking from scratch is a cast iron skillet, either a 10-inch or a 12-inch. The 10-inch skillet, the one I have here, is actually the perfect size for making cobblers and chicken pot pies. And what I love about cast iron, besides the fact that if you take good care of it and cook with it and keep it well seasoned, that it's almost naturally nonstick, but I also love that I can start something like a pot pie on the stovetop, cook the vegetables, make the sauce and let it thicken, and then I can add my crust and put it straight into the oven. No need to switch dishes. The Instant Pot Duo is going to make any homesteader's life just a little bit easier because it can serve so many different purposes and really lift a little bit of a burden off of a homesteader when it comes to cooking from scratch. One of the things I use the Instant Pot for is to make hard-boiled eggs. It's super easy because you can just put it in and time it and forget about it. You don't have to wait for water to start boiling. It's just pretty much put in, time it, and not have to worry about it until it's all done. It also has a yogurt function, so you can use fresh milk and make homemade yogurt. You can also make broth in the Instant Pot using bones, and it will give you a great gelatinous broth when you're done. It's also used as a rice cooker or to make soup. It has a saute function, and so you can start by sauteing veggies before you add the rest of the ingredients for your soup. Anyway, it's an all-around great versatile tool for your kitchen. I have several gift suggestions for you for bread making. First of all, you need a good KitchenAid mixer stand. This one will do 1 loaf of bread for all of the recipes that I have on my blog and YouTube channel. This is the Artisan 5-quart KitchenAid mixer. If you want a stand mixer that can handle 2 loaves, you'll want to get the 7-quart KitchenAid bowl with a lift stand. This is my favorite loaf pan to use for quick breads and sandwich breads. It's made by Caraway and it's naturally non-stick without any toxic chemicals because it has a ceramic coating. There's a few different colors that you can choose from, and I loved this blue because it matches my kitchen. And Caraway actually has a whole line of their ceramic lined, non-stick, non-toxic pans. They have sheet pans and different baking pans. And I think you'll find something that you really love, or you can grab the whole line if you want. Okay, when you get into artisan bread making and really any sourdough bread making, you're gonna need lots of different tools, and it'll just make your bread making a lot easier. The first is this banneton basket, and I use this when I'm doing my second rise on my artisan bread. It just helps the dough to keep its shape better. And then I have this serrated bread knife, which I was looking for something to cut artisan bread, because artisan bread, if you know, can be really crusty and hard to cut. And so I found this. It's made by a family-owned company in Oregon, and mine is actually a left-handed knife because I'm left-handed, but they have a right-handed as well. So make sure that you select the correct one when you're purchasing it. If you or your favorite homesteader would like to make beautiful designs on top of your sourdough bread, then you'll need a bread lame or something like this to score your bread with. This is by a company called Bread Bosses, and it works really well. It has extra little razors that you can put, take this off when it gets stolen, put a new one on. And I love how it has the handle. It just makes it a lot easier than trying to hold the little razor when you're scoring. This is a Danish dough whisk, and I just recently purchased this because I've been making my artisan dough, and at the beginning when you're first using your hands to mix everything up, I was just getting dough stuck to my hands all the time, and I decided it would be easier to invest in one of these. So you can use this to gently mix up your dough and not end up with clumps of dough all over your hands. And these are this is a dough scraper. So this is for scraping the stickier dough out of the bowl and onto a floured surface. And then this is a dough cutter. And so I use this when my dough has risen the first time and I am going to separate it out into rolls, and I need to cut it into 8 pieces. This is my favorite rolling pin. I've had this for so many years. It was actually gifted to me, and it's made out of a solid piece of wood. This was handcrafted in Kentucky, and so I can't find the exact one to link to, but I will link to a similar style that is made out of one piece of wood. It's really great because the handles don't break off like I've had with other rolling pins. I have some great gift ideas for a homesteader. First is this book that's fairly new by Melissa K. Norris. It's called Everything Worth Preserving. And what's so great about it is the first half of the book talks about all the different ways that you can preserve vegetables, fruit, meat, etc. And then the other half is listed by the actual kind of food. So if I had a big box of peaches I wanted to preserve, then I would go to peaches, and it tells you all of the different ways that you can preserve peaches and which ways are the best ways, and any ways that you should not preserve peaches. And then behind that, there are some recipes that you can make as well using that particular item that you just looked up. For those who are wanting to learn to ferment or are wanting to upgrade to something that's a little easier for fermenting, first we have these pickle pipes. And you just take these and put them onto a mason jar and screw the mason jar band on top. And then this is silicone, and it has a little valve that releases air. So then you don't have to take off the lid every now and then to burp your jar so that it doesn't blow up because of the gas that builds up inside. And this will just release the pressure naturally. So that's very handy. Love that. And then we have, these are called pickle pebbles. And these go, so you put your cabbage or whatever you're fermenting, and you put your solution on top, and then on top of that, you're going to place your weight. This is a glass weight. So you place this on top, and this will add weight to keep the food submersed underneath the solution of salt and water so that nothing ends up going bad. This food dehydrator is my favorite. I upgraded to this year, and I couldn't be more happy. It has made dehydrating herbs and fruit leather and everything, just so much easier. I actually keep this on my countertop for most of the summer because every week I'm dehydrating a different herb so that I can keep up on the harvest and have enough herbs stored for the winter. It has 10 trays and it comes with 2 fruit leather trays. You can also make beef jerky in this. It's also great because it doesn't heat up your entire house like using the oven does for dehydrating food. I definitely prefer this over hanging herbs to dry because that can take a long time and end up being messy and getting dust on them and everything. And so this is just in and out. It's usually about 24 hours to dry herbs, and then they are done and I can put them in jars, and it makes the process seamless. I used to be pretty hesitant about using a pressure cooker versus a water bath canner. I just had heard too many stories about people getting hurt. This has a regulator weight that you add on top here, and so this helps control the pressure accurately, so you don't have to worry about the pressure getting too high if you're watching everything and following the instructions. Also, there's no gasket in this. It's metal on metal sealing, and so you never have to worry about the gasket getting too old and not being suitable to use anymore because we don't have one. What I really love about this pressure cooker is that it cooks 7 quarts at a time, but if you're doing pints, like I do a lot of pints, this actually stacks. So you can cook up to 19 pints because you put a layer of your pint jars and then you put this on top of those and you stack another layer of pint jars. It almost cuts the time of processing the jars in half. I also have some items on this gift guide for homesteaders for the garden. These are mostly books, but I also have a couple of other things that I'll link to. This is also by Melissa K. Norris, and she has written the Family Garden Plan to help you plan your garden, where to place your garden according to where you get shade and sun, and also to calculate how much your family needs to grow to be able to sustain yourself if you were wanting to grow all of your own food. And then this is the workbook that goes along with it, which I have found really useful. This is where you can keep track of what you need to do in the garden for each month of the year. And then you can also plan by the week what you're going to do in the garden for each day of each week of the year. So this could be really great for the summertime when you've got a lot going on and you've got to harvest things and you've got to plant things and prune. Anyway, so this will help you keep organized in your garden. And then I also have this book by Amy Strauss called The Suburban Micro Farm. This is really good for if you don't have a lot of land and you're trying to grow a garden that'll be really effective. She talks about how to have great soil and how to get organized with your little micro farm, and even how to do edible landscaping, which works really great if you're not on a lot of land. Be sure to check this book out as well. And then for those who have chickens, this is the egg carrier that I use. We have 8 chickens, and so this actually holds enough for 7 eggs, which usually turns out to be perfect because our chickens do not all lay every day. And I think it's really cute, and I love how it's divided. So each egg has a little bit of a cushion. Then there's the Small Scale Poultry Flock book by Harvey Ussery. And this is really comprehensive. It talks about how to raise chickens naturally. If you already have the basics down for chicken keeping, then you might want to check out the Intermediate Guide to Raising Chickens and How to Expand and Maintain a Happy Backyard Flock. I like this book a lot because it talks about how to keep your chickens happy, keep them from getting bored, how to upgrade your coop and your run as you're growing your flock, how to protect your chickens from predators, and how to expand your flock through either hatching or incubating the eggs. And then it also talks about keeping your hens healthy, which I think can be a little tricky for us, some of us, to know what is happening with our chickens and what we need to do to help them to get better. That's another one to add to your list as well. One last item I failed to mention during the bread baking part of this video is the mock mill. This is my grinder for different kinds of grains. This is easy to change the settings from a fine flour to a coarse flour. I usually keep it on the fine though for bread making. It's also a really quick grinder, which is great. And you just take off the lid and turn on your grinder and then pour your wheat kernels in, and it comes out down here. It's made in Germany with a 6-year warranty. It is pretty heavy, and so I keep mine out on my countertop in the kitchen just because I use it quite a bit and because it is heavy and I don't want to do any damage to it by moving it around a lot. I hope this video has been helpful for you and that you found some great ideas for gifts for a homesteader or for yourself to add to your wish list this holiday season. I will have links to some of these items, but I also will link to the blog post that I made on Homesteader gift ideas, which has links to these items as well as some other items that I didn't get to cover in this video. If you enjoyed this video, I hope you will give it a like. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel where I create new videos every week on farm fresh recipes and simple living ideas to help you on your journey to a healthy and happy home. I'll see you soon. Bye.